All right, let's dive into the fifth key from Dr. C. Ruth Taylor's fantastic series, Keys to Win at Life. This one's about a concept that sounds simple but is incredibly powerful: winning with clarity. Let's get right to it. You know that feeling? The pressure to act, to jump in, to just do something? We've all been there. But here's the thing. When we move without a clear idea of what we're actually trying to do, we can get into some serious trouble. There's a real hidden danger in acting before you understand. And wow, this African proverb just nails it, doesn't it? Seriously, just picture that for a second. Leaping into a river with both feet, it's a total recipe for disaster. You've got no balance, no way to back out, no clue what the currents are doing or how deep it is. It's a leap of blind faith. And life, just like a river, can have some pretty nasty surprises waiting under the surface. So that brings us to the big question, right? If jumping in blind is just foolish, then how do we move forward? How are you supposed to test the waters of a new job, a new project, or any challenge really, without getting completely overwhelmed or swept away by it all? Well, the answer is clarity. And we're not talking about just a vague feeling of, oh, I get it. No, clarity, according to Dr. Taylor, is an active strategy. It's a tool, the tool you use to safely and effectively navigate whatever new waters you find yourself in. So what do we mean by clarity exactly? Well, it boils down to this: a clear understanding of what is required to be done. I know, it sounds super basic, but this understanding is absolutely foundational to success. It's the solid ground you have to build on before you even think about taking that first step. And check out the benefits when you actually have it. This isn't just theory, this stuff is tangible. When you have clarity, boom, you've got confidence because you know the path forward. You avoid those needless mistakes and failures. Your stress level, it plummets because you've replaced all that uncertainty with an actual plan. Confusion goes right out the window. It becomes this vital ingredient you need to actually win. Okay, this all sounds great, but how do we get it? How do we find this clarity? Well, it's not some kind of mystical secret. Dr. Taylor lays out a super practical two-step blueprint that we can use for pretty much any challenge. Let's take a look. And here it is. It's really this simple. It's a 1-2 punch. First, you ask questions. You just inquire. Find out what really needs to happen. And second, you do your research. You investigate the requirements. You gather the info. You get what you need to see the full picture. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. This isn't about looking back and figuring out what went wrong after you've already jumped in the river. No way. This whole process is about seeking clarity before you do anything at all. It's a proactive strategy, not a reactive cleanup mission. And you can use this blueprint literally everywhere. Think about it. Writing an essay? Get clear on what the prompt is actually asking you to do. Looking for a new job? Get clear on the kind of company and role you actually want. Starting that new position? You better get crystal clear on what success looks like so you don't waste the first 3 months on the wrong stuff. To show you just how powerful this is, let's look at a real-life example from Dr. Taylor herself. This is where we get to see the theory put into practice. This is the blueprint in action. So here's the situation. Dr. Taylor was asked to help teach a week-long series at a church. That's a pretty big commitment, right? A lot of moving parts. It's the perfect kind of situation to get completely overwhelmed if you don't have a plan. So what did she do? Did she just jump in and start writing a bunch of lectures? Nope. She used the blueprint. She set up a meeting with the church leader to ask questions. What was his vision? What were his expectations? Then, with that info, she could do her research and put together a clear plan and a timetable. And this quote, this is the payoff right here. Can you imagine that feeling? The relief, the focus? Instead of walking away with a head full of questions and uncertainty, she walked away knowing exactly what she needed to do. That one meeting completely transformed the project. So the outcome was, well, predictable in the best way possible, because she did the hard work up front to get clear. The actual task of teaching was so much easier and way more effective. So let's stop just hoping things work out. Let's stop testing the water with both feet. Instead, let's become engineers of our own success. Use these simple tools, asking and researching, to build a solid foundation of clarity before we ever take a step. And so I'm going to leave you with this question to really think about. Take a look at your life right now, your work, your projects, your personal goals. What's the one area where just taking a pause to ask a few questions and do a little research could make all the difference?